We're going to get back on track and do figures this week, okay? But don't forget the technical, because it is important. It really is, okay? So in phase 2, we do progressive twinkles. So if we are in sidecar position and we do a progressive twinkle, back to last week, sidecar position, you notice that I am in front of him. I'm offset, but in front of him. Not hip to hip. Okay? So when I'm in sidecar position, I'm in front of him. And we're going to do one progressive twinkle, phase 2, and that's going to put us into a banjo position. It's a quarter turn. 1, 2, 3. Would you like to do it correctly, please? Progressive twinkle.
He's anticipating.
Close your feet. A progressive twinkle closes your feet. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Okay? So we're in banjo, and we do a progressive twinkle. Closing the feet. But you notice, I'm in front of him, and I'm looking over his right shoulder. We do our progressive twinkle to banjo. I'm in front of him, and still looking over his right shoulder. Okay? So let's try these steps on a line. It's a zigzag. So you're zigzagging back and forth. Don't think of it as a turn and turn the foot. Okay? So he's actually going forward side close. And when he does that side close, it's an automatic thing that it's going to put the ladies into a banjo position. Forward side close. Because when I take my side step, it just happens. You don't have to physically work on getting over there. If you just, both of you do forward side close for him, back side close for her. 1, 2, 3. And I'm there. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. A regular old hover. 1, 2, 3. So you're rising with a little rotation to go to semi-closed position on that second step of the hover. Cross hover incorporates progressive twinkle action, but a hovering up action on the second step, and the third step is not a closing step. It is a passing step. So when you do a cross hover, starts with a crossing step, that forward step on a diagonal. Now we're going to take our side step rising up, and now instead of closing our feet, we're stepping forward for him, back for her to banjo position. Sloppy twinkle. Go back to when you first learned how to do a twinkle and you didn't want to close your feet, and that's what you're doing. You're just doing 3 forward steps. Okay, turn it. So it's a sloppy twinkle. Cross hover from sidecar to banjo. 1, 2, 3. Cross hover from banjo to sidecar. 1, 2, 3. But you notice feet are apart at the end of it, not together. So it's a passing step. He's stepping forward, she's stepping back. First step of it is a crossing step because you're in sidecar or banjo position, but you want to step on that straight line, so it makes it a crossing step. Turn, and then step out on that diagonal.
But your feet are coming together just
Because of the rise. When you hover, the feet automatically come together when you rise up. Because if I have my foot out here and I straighten my knee, my foot comes in. And the same thing happens when you do a hover. You're rising up, the feet are going to come up and come together slightly. If you get to the point when you do it for a lot of times, you will bring them together and think about it a little bit more so that it is not just this much, but you're rising up and bringing the feet clear together before you take a weight on that next step. Okay? But it's the hover that does it. So we do a plain hover. The rise up brings the feet together before you go out to the next step. Okay? Because of the rise, when you rise, it brings the feet together. But then you have to be sure to step out with that foot. Some of our progressive twinkles. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Did we progress?
maybe like 2 inches.
Very small.
That far? Progressive twinkles need to progress.
You should go from one
Cross
window to the next.
hovers progress more because you're taking 3 progressive steps. Now stop and think about it. On a progressive twinkle, we're taking 2 progressive steps. 1, 2, and closing our feet. So we only took 2 steps on progression. Now on a cross hover, we're going to take 3 progressive steps. 1, 2, 3. So we're progressing even more on that cross hover because all 3 steps are progressive. Okay? So when we cross hover, want to make sure that you are progressing down the line of dance. It doesn't go in and out. It goes zigzag down the line of dance. And it is a progressive move, very much so. You should probably progress at least 3 feet on each cross hover. At least. Okay? To do a cross hover to semi, you have to be starting in sidecar. Lead foot free, and you're going to do your cross hover to semi, which means he's going to take his forward crossing step. Now, as he takes this side and rise step, if we did a normal cross hover, we would turn to face our partner here, and then step out to banjo. But if we're going to go to semi-closed, the fellas have to lead it a little differently so that she doesn't turn away with his rotation. He's going to take his first step. His second step, as he takes that step, he's going to just slide her across in front of him with a little bit of right face rotation, and then you will both step out to semi-closed, diagonal line and center. So the cross hover to semi ends diagonal line and center. 1, 2, 3. So the ladies are stepping more back on the second step than side because she's stepping basically straight back. as he's coming side and forward and turning, rotating right face to get her to turn to semi-closed position. Okay? Because the upper body has to rotate to the right to get her to open up to semi-closed. Okay? So semi-closed, trailing foot free. If you do a through hover, you're going to step through on the first step. That's your prep step. Hovering up on the second step. And then the third step is a recover. So there's your through hover. Okay? So through hover, 1, 2, 3. Through hover is also, with no change of direction, called hover following. So with no change of direction, trailing foot free, 1, 2, 3 is a hover following.
Yes, we did do that. I
Okay?
just didn't know that was the name.
Okay. Following means moving backwards in semi-closed position. Okay? So if you ever hear a cue with the word follow away in it, it's going to have at some point in time, not necessarily the last step, but at some point in time, you will be moving backwards in semi-closed position. Okay? So this is a hover follow away, meaning we have a trailing foot free. We're going to step through, we're going to hover up, and here's our follow away. We move backwards in semi-closed position. Okay? Now, if we do a through hover, normally it'll change position. Normally, if you do a through hover, it'll be through hover to banjo. 1, 2, 3. And the ladies have changed over. So now she's looking to the left and you're in banjo position instead of in semi. Back hover to semi. He steps back. He steps side and turns her to semi, and then we both step out to semi. And that's your back hover to semi, okay?